Boom, 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 boom. Mr. Stevie's Tall Tale Toys. Got it wrong. Tall Toy Tales. Great start. Great start. Hello, everybody. Dean may be the only one that's with us, but that's okay. I'm on StreamYard, so I can see all your comments pop up on the right-hand side. The first thing I need you to do for me is check that you can hear my voice. So Dean, if you're in there, or anybody, just pop a little comment in the comment in the chat. Let that pop up and reassure me that you can actually hear me. Start with that. That's your first test. He's waiting. Ah, fabulous. Thank you. Hello, Alan and Damien. Nice to see you. So this is something new. Well, newish. I've been doing live Tall Toy Tales for quite a while, and they're usually 10 minutes. You know, my energy's quick, and it's 10 minutes and it's done. And my kids have been watching Queso, for those of you who are young enough to know who he is. And he's like a Twitch streamer, and he's on YouTube for like hours and hours and hours and hours. And I thought, I can do that. Like, I'm trying to pass my collection off in little segments. And I was like, why don't I just do the whole bloody thing? Why don't I just talk about my collection and show everything that I've got and explain all the stories behind it and how I got stuff, and invite you all over into my toy dungeon. So I am. I don't know how long it's going to take. You stay as long as you like. You could already sign off by now, or you could stay right to the bitter end, whatever you want to do. In some ways, this is a nice way for me to actually record this for prosperity. Is that the word? Yeah. Maybe my kids or my grandkids will see it and go, that's what the hell Granddad or great-granddad Stevie did. So I'm doing it as much for me as I am for you, but probably a little bit more for you, because, yeah, that's the kind of guy I am. You'll notice I'm trying to keep my energy sort of a little bit calmer, because I can't keep the usual energy that I have up for hours and hours and hours. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now, what I have done is, just for your enjoyment, I've set up a couple of cameras. I've got this one, the desk cam, and then I've got a toy cam, which is my remote camera, which I can pick up and take into the toys you see behind me. And I've even got some little special lenses where we can zoom in and all this kind of stuff. So I hope it works. I've got this little remote microphone, so wherever I go, you should be able to hear me loud and clear. I'm walking to the other side of my basement. You can't see me, but hopefully you can hear me. That would be good. Anyway, so they're the logistics of that. Let's see who we've got. We've got Ken. We've got all the usual suspects. Left Coast Graphics, Suka, drinking tea while Steve spills the tea on his collection. Look at you, huh? You must work on marketing or social media. Very good, very good. Gary's here. Hey, Mr. Stevie, hello. We'll give it. I like doing these. This is cool, isn't it? I quite like StreamYard. I don't know if anyone else uses it, but it's pretty cool. Pretty neat. What a setup. Yeah, you're going to see it, Damien. So where do we start? Okay, let's start somewhere. I've explained the cameras. I've explained the microphone. I've explained why I'm doing it. I've explained how long it could potentially be. And again, you can dip in, dip out as you need to. I'm here to show my collection. By all means, ask questions, but I'll do my usual. You know, if you ask me stuff that are Hasbro specific or Marvel Legends or Black Series or TVC, I'll do my best. If it's knowledgeable, if the knowledge is out there, I'll reiterate. But don't want to get too deep into that. But I know that doesn't stop you asking anyway. So you go right ahead. I'm long in the tooth enough to know how to sidestep those kinds of questions. But this is really about my collection and what it means to me. And hopefully you'll see some things or hear some things that will resonate with you, because I think while everyone is individual, I think we all kind of do it for the same reasons, really. There's a little bit of nostalgia in there. There's a little bit of what I call the ABCs of collecting. You may have heard me talk about that. You know, the accomplishment, the belonging, the control. In this crazy world we live in, where everything is kind of moving at 50 billion miles an hour, the ability to stop, collect, curate, and celebrate your own special artifacts is incredibly important and incredibly gratifying and very good for your mental health and very good for the soul. And it keeps me connected to my childhood, and it helps me talk to my kids about childhood and yada, 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 yada. So while we're all different and we all have different things we collect and we all like our different brands and we all like our different scales, sometimes they like their scales very much. We're all doing this for the same reason. We're all doing this for ourselves and our family, our legacy, and also community. You know, it should be belonging. You know, you are incredibly important to me. You really are, really are. And while I don't see all of you all the time, I run into a lot of you now and again, and it's very special at conventions and online and you know, on Instagram, stuff like that. So don't underestimate the power you have, I won't say over me, for me, and I hope I can give that give a little bit back in the stuff that I do here and also, you know, my profession, you know, what I do. For those of you who don't know me and just have stumbled upon this random live stream with this guy just sitting there babbling, my name's Steve Evans, or Stephen Charles Howard Evans to give him my full name, which my mother would be very proud of. But I said that. I work at Hasbro. I am in charge of design, product development for fan items on Star Wars and Marvel. And I get paid for that. It's a pretty good job. I enjoy it, and I'm eternally grateful for this opportunity of doing that. And it's something I've always wanted to do since I was a wee lad. And I've been doing it 25 years now at Hasbro. I've done lots of things around Hasbro, whether it's packaging, I've done some TV development, I've done some licensing, our products like Transformers, My Little Pony, Power Rangers and stuff like that. And I got the opportunity to move into toy development on Star Wars, which I joined in oh my goodness, no, what am I talking about? 2014, yes, just before Force Awakens and the sequel trilogy. And it's a dream job, dream job. The only sad part of it, my father, rest his soul, he passed away sadly quite suddenly at the age of 63, just before I got the Star Wars job. He knew it was my dream job. He knew I went to Hasbro in '99 to eventually start working with Star Wars, and I was a big Star Wars kid, and he didn't make it. He didn't quite see it. So whether he's up there to the side, down below, I don't know. But hopefully, yeah, I made it, Dad, which was good. Anyway, we're not here to be morose and sort of overly dramatic, but I wanted to, sorry, I'm reading all the comments as they come. This is where I'm not very good at this, so I kind of like get distracted. I'm like, squirrel, what's over there? What's this one? Stephen Butler. Thank you, mate. Hi, Steve. I've been looking forward to this. Massive respect and thanks to you. You work you do with community stuff and all toys. See, you can't even write it, which I'm a massive fan of. You are welcome, Stephen, and thank you for everything that you do as well, because we're all doing this together. It's a tapestry of things. So a lot of people, before I get into that, so I work at Hasbro, I've been doing that for 25 years. I've been collecting for 35 years. I sort of like narrowed the point in which I did that, when I was about 16, and I'm 51. I know, I don't look 51, do I? That's why I've got my hat on to hide all my gray hairs. But collecting toys and play has been part of my life, always, like always. There was probably a period of time, probably when I was about 12, 13, where I put away my toys. I put away my Star Wars figures, and I wasn't nostalgic for them. I wasn't collecting them, but even then, I was still skateboarding and drawing playful things. So play and enjoyment like that has always been part of my life. So I've been collecting this 35 years of stuff. Now, it's not a big collection. I'll be honest with you. A lot of you have way, 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 way more. But what I do is I have a little bit of an addictive personality, I'd say. So when I'm into something, I'm in, and it can get too overpowering. So what I've done is my collection is very specific, and it is me rebuilding my childhood toys. If I collect a lot of, and I don't collect a lot of modern stuff. If I did, I think I'd be in too deep. Like, for example, I hope you're all sitting down now. I don't collect TVC or Black Series or Legends. I've got a few in there. I have a load in my office, but I don't personally collect it because I collect my childhood. This is my journey. So a lot of people say, wow, you kept all your toys from when you were young? Wow. And I go, nope. There is one thing, which I'll show you in a minute, that is the original. None of this, none of, I'm going to swap my camera, look at me. None of that is original. This is all rebought. All stuff that I've gone back, rediscovered, repurchased, and had that gratifying experience of getting again, which, especially over the COVID period, was incredibly calming. So I really enjoyed it. So why don't I show you the only thing in my collection that is original. And I got this when I was 2.5. I lived in Canada for a while. My dad and my mum worked in restaurants and hotels. My dad was working, got a job in Nova Scotia, Halifax, and we moved over there when I was very, very little for about a year and a bit. And I got this for Christmas. So when I'm going to switch to toy cam, come with me, and we'll see if this works. So if I pick you up and take you over to my preschool cupboard, my little baby Steve cupboard. In here is a series of Henson stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But most importantly, out of the entire collection, and I mean, so I can get this, the entire collection, this little dude is the only one. Now I've got a special macro lens here, so I'm going to try something out. So I don't know whether this is going to work, but I'm going to try and lay that over there so I can get you super close. This is my little blue dog. I got a little blue dog when I was 2.5. I got it in a Christmas stocking that some friends of my mum and dad's bought me. Now you'll notice that the tail has been chipped off because I used to chew it. I chewed it from the age of 2, and I've chewed it for years and years and years. And because I'm a collector, I still have it. I still have that bloody tail. This is the only thing that's original from my childhood in my collection. Let me back out of there, take off the macro lens, which worked quite well actually. I'm going to move you back over here. I'm going to jump back to the desktop and see if there are any quick questions, because I've seen some of you banging some questions down. Let me come back to you. Hey, that work okay? That feel all right? All right, okay. So what have we got? I'm not even pre-reading these, I'm just gonna bang these up. Dean has got back from having his dinner, which is good. Love the tall toy tales, well written. And one question I'd like to ask is, did you have the Palitoy Death Star growing up, and did you ever own the Kenner US version? If so, what was your favorite cheers? No, and no, I didn't. It was the one thing that I didn't have as a kid. I had a lot of the Star Wars stuff, like I had all the figures and I had the Falcon and the AT-AT. My grandparents, I've told this story many times before, but my father was from a large family, and my nanny and granny were, you know, they had a little bit of money, and they used to say, Stephen, what would you like for Christmas? And whatever I asked for, I would usually get. I'd never get any more, and I'd never get any less. So being the clever, what was I, 7, 8 years old, I said, have the Millennium Falcon, please, Nanny, for Christmas. And of course I got the Millennium Falcon. Then when Empire came out, it was, can I have the AT-AT, please, Nanny, for Christmas? And I got the AT-AT, which was one of my best Christmas presents ever. And I remember going to my nanny and granddad's house and it being under the tree. And you remember when you get big boxes and people use wrapping paper, it doesn't quite wrap the entire box, and you can see a little slither of the actual box underneath. I could see the Empire Strikes Back logo, and I knew it was the AT-AT. So it's very, very exciting. And they had a sheepskin rug as well, which allowed me to play Hoth on that. So that was great. What was my point of my story? Oh yes, and but they always bought me what I asked for. One year I didn't know what I wanted. I asked for a Wind in the Willows book, which I still think, now you have to stay, I'm going to do a lot of this, by the way. I'm going to do a lot of running around. Where is my Wind in the Willows book? I've got it somewhere. I bought it. I rebought it, but I can't find it. Where the hell is it? Anyway, they bought me a Wind in the Willows book, which was like £5. It was like nothing. And that's what I got for Christmas because I asked for it. Anyway, Dean, sorry. Back to your question. But I never had the Death Star. I didn't have the cardboard one, the British one, and I certainly didn't have the American one, but I would have definitely loved the American one. Oh my God. That is like one of the most enigmatic Star Wars play sets that have ever been made, in my opinion, that Death Star. And, you know, I'd love to do something with a Death Star. But anyway, there is your question. Just saying hello to Anthony Fiore. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Can I say hello? Hey, hello. Hi. He follows me and he's very communicative on Instagram, so I appreciate you interacting, my man. Thank you very much. All right, what's this one? What would you most wanted but never made original vintage Star Wars collection? I can't answer you that because that would be maybe giving something away, wouldn't it? Right, back to it. Need a drink. of water. It's not alcohol. I had too much alcohol yesterday, which, to be fair, I'm a little bit blurry today. So, you know, bear with me, bear with. All right, so what do we start with? Okay, so we've seen the only thing that's actually original in this thing. Where did it all start? Well, it started with Star Wars. Funny that. A Kenner Star Wars original heritage figures. I played with them from the age of about 5, 6, all the way through to about 12. And then I gave them all away. I gave them all away to Andrew and Christopher, which are a couple of kids I used to babysit up the road. And they invariably set fire to them, burnt them, buried them in the ground. Usual things that should be done to toys at that age. I've blown up a number of X-Wings in my time. Set fire to them in the car park behind the restaurant we used to live in. But anyway, that's another story, just in case my mum's listening. And I moved on from Star Wars, went skateboarding, went breakdancing, which I wasn't very good at. High center of gravity. I'm quite tall. I'm 6'3", so you can imagine me on a skateboard or breakdancing is very gangly. And I remember smashing my head open on the swimming pool down in Romford Skate Park. So I didn't do that for too long. But anyway, as I got older, I used to go to boot sales. My mum and my dad used to sell stuff at boot sales, which is like flea markets to you Americans. But boot sale, you'd bring a car up, you'd open the trunk, and you'd sell all the old stuff out from your house and just get some money and things like that. We used to do that quite a lot. And when I was there one day, I found some Star Wars figures. And I was probably about 15, 16. And I was like, oh, I remember those. Oh, I love those. I was such a Star Wars fan. So I bought a couple for like 10p or something like that. And I started buying a few more. And I don't know how, but I sort of discovered that there was this collecting culture, that there was this underground movement, which sounds very dangerous, of Star Wars collectors. And I got no, this was later. No, this book was later. It wasn't this probably book, but this was a big part of me collecting. I got this book. I looked at by Steve Sansweet, and it had all the stuff, and talked about toys and how they're now super collectible. And I was always a big fan of Star Wars. I was a big fan of what I'm looking for, special effects and things like that. So I was reading this and I was like, oh, the toys, man, that is so cool. So I started going around all the boot sales trying to find Star Wars toys. And this is how the story goes, all right? So my best friend, Simon Slater, who's actually, it's his birthday today. He is 51 today. Happy birthday, Simon. I'm sure you're not watching this because that would be too much effort for you. Actually, I know you're out with your good lady. So we used to go around boot sales all the time, and we would run around. Literally, you'd normally walk around a boot sale, right, like that. I know I'm out of focus, but you can get the impression. We'd walk around a boot sale, but we would sort of run, and we would go, got any Star Wars figures? Do you have any Star Wars figures? Run. And we'd race each other. We'd start at different ends of the boot sale, and we would run around trying to get Star Wars figures. Now, Simon, he's a lucky son of a bitch. To be fair, he picked up like a Barada for like 5p. He even got, if I remember, a yak face for like 20 pence, which is 20 cents, effectively. So we had this sort of friendly competition about who could get the most stuff. And then one morning I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning. We got really early, and it was peeing down with rain. And I said to Simon, hey, you coming to boot sales? And he was like, no, it's pouring down, no point. So I said, well, I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to go. So I got in my car and I drove. So I must have been 17. So I must have just passed. So maybe I've been collecting 34 years anyway. So I drove to the boot sale, and it was raining. And the guy who usually used to take 20p for you to get in, said, you can come in. It's peeing down rain, mate. There's no one's here. There's like 5 cars. Just come in. It's fine. Don't worry. We're all going to pack up and go. So I went in and I did my usual running around. Got any Star Wars figures? Got any Star Wars figures? And I turned the corner on this last line of cars, and there was everything. Figures, vehicles, the Han Solo's pistol, we had records, we had everything laid out. Young lad there, sold it to me for a storm. I won't go into the full story, but all the stuff from my Star Wars stuff, which we're going to dig into now, is all from that one purchase. I calculated it. Each of the figures that you're going to see cost me about half a pence. Half a pence. And I've still got them today, 30 odd years later. So let's go and see the Star Wars figures. I'll take you through them reasonably quickly, and then we'll start talking about how I built up the rest of the collection. So we're going to switch over. And we're going to go see Star Wars. I'm going to take you ultimately remote now. I'm going to pick you up. So all of these figs were bought from that rainy Sunday. And now I've got to use the, I got to use that. I got to be better than that. And the beautiful thing about these figures is that the quality, and they're just stiff, and they were just brilliant. They were all in an ice cream tub. And when I pulled all the figures out, because I was excited, all the weapons were at the bottom of the tub. All of them. This kid had everything. So I got all my Star Wars stuff. Got some customs in there, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Down into Empire. Even down to the Cloud Car Pilot Com, which is often lost because it's teeny. Into Jedi. And then we come down the last 17. Didn't have all of the last 17. The only one he was missing was Yak Face. I had to buy that for real money. I think that cost me £90. But I had Luke with the helmet, Barada, Amanaman, all the Ewoks. Ooh. Can't do that with one hand. R2, nice condition with the lightsaber. Han. So that young man, I don't know where he is today, but thank you. Like, while you could have got a lot more money for it, so I feel a little bit bad by not paying a terrible amount, but it is treasured, I tell you. It is treasured and it is loved, and it helped me get into the industry that I absolutely love. And the other one I had to buy was the Blue Snag. I think that cost me £200, which was quite expensive back then. Don't think it's really increased in value too much there, but I'm not selling these anyway. They're never to be sold. And there are other stuff down there which we'll talk about in a little bit. So let me come back. So I started with Star Wars. So I bought all that stuff, and then I went to college. I went to Brighton University and studied graphic design. And Brighton was a mecca for antiques and collectibles. And they had 2 stores that were collector stores, unheard of in England. And I started buying and selling Star Wars figures to help me through college. In the old days, in the good old days, I would advertise in Model and Collector's Mart. I'm going to get up again because I have the copy of Model and Collector. Where am I putting it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Model and Collector's Mart, for those of you in England who remember, I used to advertise in here, and I probably won't find it, but my advert is still in here. This is the actual one that I had an advert for in here. So I used to advertise. People would ring up and phone, dialing phone attached to the wall, remember? And they say, have you got a Luke Skywalker Bespin? I would say, yes, I've still got that one. It's great. Can I have that one? How much is it? I said, that's £2. Okay, can you save it for me? I'll send you a check. So they would send me a check. I'd cash the check, and when the check went through, I'd then take the figure and post it and send it to them. So it was a very rudimentary form of eBay. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you. You're all probably of an age where you remember it, right? But that's what I did. It used to help me get through university, and I did all right. I made a few £100 here and there. And you put that back. But having that magazine is very, very special. And I've also got I'll go to the cam for this one. I've also got my original business card, which was laminated. Remember laminating things, how exciting that was, and sort of super tech? But that's where I live, Toronto Terrace in Brighton. And then when I wasn't at university, I was at home in Lexden in Colchester. So I've still got one of these left. So I keep that with all my Star Wars memorabilia. Very, very special. So for a long time, I had, oh look, it's like an infinity image. I had just Star Wars stuff. And when I finished university and I came back home and I got married and met my wife Helen, I had just 2 Detolfs. Actually, I had one one Detolf, just Star Wars stuff. I had that for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Then I got my job at Hasbro, and I didn't really flourish this collection until kind of COVID time, where I really got into it. And you get to a point where you turn 40, got my dream job, my father passed away, and you know, you get very nostalgic. And I got kids, I got 3 children, and you think, oh, I want to rediscover or recapture or hold on to childhood. And I was in a fortunate position because I was working in toys and I was working on Star Wars. So I kind of had more childhood at my fingertips than probably, sounds weird, than I probably deserved to. But when COVID hit, I just started exploring social media a little bit more and finding what was the latest state of the community. You know, I'd been collecting, but it hadn't really flourished. And that's when I started all of this. So I said to myself, all right, Steve, what can you collect that is reasonable, that you'll get enjoyment, that will fit downstairs in your basement? I mean, we're in the basement, and won't cost you, won't get out of hand. Because remember I told you I have a little bit of an addictive personality. Unfortunately, that comes from my father, which didn't help him with alcohol. He had a very addictive personality, which eventually, ultimately killed him. So I'm very conscious of that. So I said, all right, make the rules. I like making rules and standards and principles and sticking to them. So you're only going to collect what you had as a kid. You're going to regather your childhood. And each of these little squares in the Detolfs, which they don't make anymore, will be a little piece of your childhood, an era or a brand or a story, and you're just going to build it up. And you can come down here and you can look at your life. You can look at your childhood, the place that inspires you to be where you are now, to work in the company you work now. So that's what I did. So that's what I'm going to take you through. I'm going to take a pause there and have a little look at the questions and hellos and all this kind of stuff. What do we got? William, hey William, nice to see you. Or Bill, Bill, what do you want to be called? Looking forward to what you have planned for Return to Tatooine. Good. So am I. So am I. I think it's a really nice story. It's certainly setting, remember I just spoke about rules and principles. This is a big one for me. It's like, I want to create annual stories for people to collect around. So it's a controllable and manageable amount of things that we can make checklists for, and we can talk about all together. People can collect and get a sense of achievement. Remember I spoke about A's, B's and C's, achievement, and C, control. I've got that, I've collected that, because there are some of you that collect everything, right? And good for you, that's great. If you want to do that, that's great. Not everyone does that. Some people want to come in and they want to just get a sense of accomplishment, because this is why I don't collect modern brands, because when do they end? I don't know whether I can stand the stress of collecting something that goes on and on and on and on and on. So I do like to be able to put in little oases, little islands, little pit stops. I go, all right, Return to Tatooine, you can collect them all. You know, it's not going to be hundreds of things. It's going to be a controllable, smallish, medium-sized amount, but it will make a really nice display. And that's it. And next year, we're in 2026, we're doing something else. I've actually got them all. I really won't show you this. It's all in here. 2026 is all there. We're working out our new story. So I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you, William. So I hope you'll all like it. And if you don't like it, let me know. If you do like it, let me know. But more importantly, if there's things that you miss or you think we can do better for 26, 27, 28, you know, let me know. All right, what else we got? If you could get, hey Ken, I love Ken. If you could get just one more figure, that's the story of our lives, right? We should do t-shirts. Just one more figure that was never produced from a defunct action figure line in your collection. What figure would you want? Oh, let's go on the camera. My plan of action's gone out the window, so we're going to go on the camera. All right, there are lots of them, my friend. But I would love to see some more characters against Tron. I love Tron. 1982, I went with my friend Bryce Lennon when I was, how old was I then? I was 9. We went to Clacton Cinema. It was 50p to get in. And I was blown away with Tron. And I had a few of these. Didn't have many, but I went back and I bought a number of them. But I want Yuri, I want Ram, I want all the other characters. I really want that tank driver that has like the green color. So I would definitely go for some more Tron characters. And I know that our friends at Super 7 did some Tron stuff. I'm actually going to take you over here. This is the stuff that I haven't yet put out. And I got a whole load of Tron in buckets here. So you can see down here, I got the Super 7 loose with the light cycles. I've got some of the Medicom real action heroes from Japan sitting in there. I need to get these out. I'm going to build a Tron display soon, he says. And I'm not very good at that, am I? So yeah, Ken, I think I'd have a Tron figure. I'm going to come back to you all. Take you off. What's this one? Gary, do you know the guys from Nitsa Ebb? I don't know what Nitsa Ebb is. I went to Romford twice. I used to get the train down to Watford skating, not Watford, Walton on the Naze skateboarding because it was cheap. Went to Romford twice. It was a little bit intimidating, I'll be honest with you, Gary. So no, I don't know Nitsa Ebb. I don't know what Nitsa Ebb is, but it sounds freaking cool. But no, I don't remember much from Romford other than trying to go around this pool thinking, this is not going to work, and then me falling off and smacking my head open. But there we go. All right. And what we got here? Stephen. Hey, Stephen. Your words and story echo my own when it comes to collecting why I collect now. And I don't think we're unusual, Stephen. I'll be honest with you, Steve. I don't think we're unusual. We just all need a little bit of control, a little bit of achievement, a little bit of meaning and focus in our life. And there you go. That's what we do. Right, I'm going to need to show you some toys now. All right, so let's hide this. Let's have a think. Where should we start? Why don't we start? Why don't I take you through preschool stuff, my younger days, and we'll just work on from there. All right. So we're going to go toy cam. I've noticed the toy cam quality is a bit. It looks good there, but whenever I move it, it's a little bit jaggy. But there we go. All right. Let's start here. So this is probably my youngest collection. I'm going to move you up a little bit here. I've got to get you in closer than that. Come on, Steve. Ah. There you go. You see, I didn't practice that. So this is my sort of when Steve was about 2. I got this. Everyone remember these? Did you used to have these? Terrified of that. Every time that went off, I'd cry my eyes out. But it has a very strong meaning in my heart, so I had to get that. A big fan of the Muppets. Huge fan of the Muppets. I'm just walking away from the camera and just grabbing an annual. For those of you who remember annuals, it seemed to be a very British thing. I don't know whether you got them much in America, but do you remember that? The Muppet Show annual. What was this? 80? No, 79? What the hell was this? 77. Blimey. I used to love this annual. I used to get my mum to trace these. I used to get my mum to redraw these so I could colour them in because I didn't want to cut them out because I didn't want to ruin it. A little bit OCD. But that's my Muppet annual. So Jim Henson, Muppets, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, all of that. Just loved it. And I was a big fan of Little People. These Little People? Yes, Little People. The original Little Peoples. Little Peoples. And I've still got the Little People Village, but I used to love the Sesame Street. So I got a full set of Sesame Streets there, and you know we've got some stuff from the sort of 80s. So I didn't have these. All right, so this is where my right. Let me be honest with you here. So, you know, I said I only collected what I had as a child. It's not strictly true. I'm kind of lying to you, if I'm honest. I kind of start with something. So I start with the Little People and some of the little figures, but then I see other stuff that was made in like the 1970s and 80s. And I think, well, if I was a kid then, I would have definitely liked that. So that counts. I'm gonna get those as well. I'm gonna get those as well. So, oh, let me spin it back around. So you can see, so a lot of stuff here from the 80s, late 70s. And then I've got some stuff from our friends at Super 7. You know, Super 7 started bringing out these little Sesame Street reaction figures, and I really like them. And they're very kind to me. I think they sent me a wave for free, which I thought was really nice of them. And so I love all the Sesame Street, and got a little doozy, a little Fraggle Rock. I haven't got all of them, but this is, you know, I'm running out of space. But I love, Jim Henson was a freaking genius, and Sesame Street was very special while I was growing up in Canada. Remember I told you I used to live there? So I used to watch that, and Mr. Rogers I used to watch as well. So I love what they're doing on Sesame Street. And in fact, actually, I'm going to take you over here. Let's take you over here. Let's pop you down here. And we're going to do a bit of live unboxing because I don't know how much of this you can see. I have got, yes, it is. I picked up the latest wave of Super 7 Sesame. Super Grover, Big Bird, Mr. Hooper. Well done for going straight to him. I thought he was wave down. Sherlock Hemlock I love as well. So, you know me, you've got to open them up. So if I grab Sherlock Hemlock and this magnifying glass, let me come in here with you. There he is, he's so cute. And then if I run back over to here, what I do like doing is comparing and contrasting. Now I only have one other Hemlock. I don't think they didn't do him in any of the other old early 80s, late 70s. So he's an unrepresented figure, but I do like comparing and contrasting and having them together. So there's that. Big Bird. Now Big Bird I can easily compare and contrast. Don't let me forget that cup. When I open things, because you know how I like to let things breathe, beep, I have a tendency to be a bit slapdash and I throw stuff away and lose accessories. So he's actually very nice. I like him a lot. So if I go back over here, I like to look at what's the nearest thing. So it'd be this guy over here. Now, I really don't want to knock things over. So now I can't remember the name of the company that made this, darn it. I'm going to forget things. Actually, no. Steve, you have got the card somewhere here. So I like to keep all my cards, even though I rip them apart. I don't mind keeping them. Here we go. It's not Big Bird, but this is the brand. Yes. Who is it? Am I blind? Why can't I see the name of the company that makes these? Oh, Tara, yeah, Tara Toy Corp. I think it's like 1984 something, 1985. So we got 1985 figure next to Super 7's 2024 figure. Look at the legs are slightly different, obviously different height, different proportions, but there we go. I like doing that. I'm not going to put him back because I'll knock everything over. So anyway, so I got Big Bird, we got Hemlock. Feeling sick yet, everyone? Super Grover, which I hope they will then reuse some of the tools and just give us normal Grover. Oh, even very nice. Why does that spring back? Oh, anyway, Super Grover, and then Mr. Hooper, who I think for a lot of us was the first. It was one of the first things about death that we dealt with. He died, didn't the actor die in real life, and they had to sort of address his death on the show. So they actually said, I mean, you know, Mr. Hooper passed away. So he's cool. So Mr. Hooper, you see a pattern emerging. Where is he? See, the only Mr. Hooper I've got, a bit like Hemlock, is this one. Not too similar. Oh, there we go. So anyway, there you go, a bit of unboxing for you. I will tidy that up later. Let me take you back over here. My tripod needs tightening up. So we had a little bit of that. I'm just nipping back to the toy cam. Any questions on Sesame Street, all those young kind of stuff? What do we got? These are just awesome. That Sesame Street shelf needs folding street play. Yeah, you're right. It does. I have the big village, just the regular little people village, which in my mind is one of the best toys ever made, I have to say. It's any toy a kid can get on the carpet in the ground and get into and kind of feel like they're on the ground level is magic to me. But yeah, I do need that. It's foldable Sesame Street. I do need that. Anyway, let's go back to toys. See, I told myself I'd control my my speech, my energy, but now I'm getting out of breath. So that was kind of this is my first sort of stuff, my first toys. Then I would say we would move over here. We would move into the 70s. Let me just shut this. Got my little Wombles. So this is my other shelf. So when I was young, Wombles. Now all of my American friends are going, what? Wombles? What's a Womble? So Wombles are little creatures from Wimbledon, just south of London, where there's a big Wimbledon Common, which is like a big sort of, I don't know what you call it, it's called a common, like a flat piece of land, grassy area, like goes on for like, you know, probably like 4 square miles or something, where people used to, in the olden days in England, they used to go and put their sheep. It was a common ground for common people to feed their sheep and all this kind of stuff. So when you hear something common, it's just a big bit of land that is used by everybody and anybody. I don't know what the equivalent is in America. But the Wombles from Wimbledon, common are we, they're little creatures that was written by Elizabeth Beresford, I believe. And they're sort of fictional characters that live underground in burrows, and they pop up when there's no people around because they don't like people. They're only little. They're probably the size of they're probably about a foot tall, and they run around and they pick up all our rubbish, all our trash, and they take it back underground and they make things from it. And it's almost like it was Britain's almost first sort of keep Britain tidy or sort of eco message. But the Wombles are from Wimbledon, and that's where I was born. I was born in Wimbledon. So the Wombles have always been a part of my childhood when I used to watch it at a little animation show. And so I've got a few of these little Womble toys. They don't make too many of them, but I think I've got a complete set of these little flocked creatures, which are in really good condition. This is probably like 1976, I think. I've also got a collection, and I'm 2 off a complete collection of Cadbury's Wombles wrappers. I remember having these at my grandmother's, the one that bought me the AT-AT and everything, because they lived near Wimbledon. So we used to go to Wimbledon Common quite often, and I just remember eating those. So and as a graphic designer, I just love the colours, and that's just crazy. So I'm 2 off completing that collection. Remember, I've got to get that ABC, achievement and belonging and control. So there's the Wombles, and then the Mr. Men. The Mr. Men were one of my favourite characters as well. I thought they were a genius design. Even as a kid, I thought the fact that they were all kind of geometric. So, you know, Mr. Strong was square, little wind up there, and Mr. Tickle was round and had all these wiggly arms and things. Mr. Greedy was a little big portly guy, big pink, bright pink. So they all had different names that were based on their attributes. So strong, noisy, tickle, tall, uppity. This is the cup I had when I was little, when I first was old enough to have hot drinks. I would have it in that uppity mug. So Mr. Men, Wombles, a bit of Paddington Bear. You're all aware of Paddington Bear. He was a sort of Womble-esque stop-motion animated TV show for kids back in England. And Viewmaster, everyone knows Viewmaster. Got my $6 Million Man. He still has his rubber arm. You see that? I still got his rubber arm. It's intact. I did roll it up to check that his kind of little panel was in there, and it was. So, you know, lovely condition, still working. That's one thing I do insist on. Another one of my rules, that whatever I'm collecting, I like it all loose. Spin you around, talk to you. I like it all loose but it's got to be really, really as perfect condition as I can find. One, because I appreciate the condition. Two, I like the hunt of finding something that is special and pristine. And three, probably most importantly, it limits me. It's that principle. It controls me. It's like I can find a $6 million man in 2 seconds, but I like him. If I'm trying to find a $6 million man with the rubber, with all the pieces all working, it takes a little bit longer. You might pay a little bit more. And sometimes I'll buy things in packages, in pack, that have really knackered packaging, like all dented, because I like to open it, because I like to have it loose, but I like to have it complete. It's just the way I collect. Keeps me out of mischief. So that's sort of like my 70s era. Another 70s era, if I come across to the left here, the Smurfs. You're all aware of Smurfs, right? These are brilliant character inventions by Peyo. Was he Belgium? I think he was Belgium, wasn't he? Yes, he was. Because there was Peyo and there was Goscinny and Underzo that did Asterix. Not many people on the in America are aware of Asterix. Let me take you in. But I love these characters. So the Smurfs I loved. I used to collect them from garages when my dad used to get petrol, gasoline, and there were so many. The collection is incredible. I am not determined to collect a complete set. That's not important to me. But I remember him. I remember, where's the other one I used to remember a lot? The Papa Smurf. I always wanted the spaceman guy, but he was quite difficult to get. But I've got him. And then with Asterix, brilliant books, like genuinely funny. This is the first one I got at my nanny and granddad's again. I have a lot to thank my nanny and granddad for, to be honest with you. I bought my first Asterix and the Big Fight when I was there, and I read it as a comic book. Bring it up here. I have a full set of the original books up until about number 30. Then they weren't written by Goscinny and Underzo anymore, and they're not quite as good, in my opinion. So Asterix in Corsica, Asterix in Belgium. It was all about where he went, and it was. If you want to open one so you can see what it looks like, take it down. It's all comic books. Originally Belgium, but it translates actually very well. The comedy translates pretty good for Asterix. So I love Asterix, and a lot of people ask me, if you could do a toy line, what would it be? And I think Asterix needs more toy lines. These toys here are from Lansay, which is a French company, done in about 2003, I want to say. So these were actually done for a movie. There was a live action movie with Gerard Depardieu. But for some reason, Lansay, luckily for me, made comic accurate characters of Obelix, Getafix, Asterix, Roman soldiers. And so they're modern, really comic accurate, which I love. Previously, in like about 1984 again, forgotten the name of the company, Playtime, something like that. They made these ones which aren't quite as accurate as you can see. So I've got a couple of those, but these ones I love. I'd love to do more of those. I'd love Asterix. I love the Smurfs, love Asterix. Those of you who follow me on Instagram know that I have been, I made a Smurf village. I can't take you're going to get some reflection on here. So I made Smurf World, which is just my little village. So I've got the windmill. I've got friends in the licensing industry that luckily gave me access to some of the original artwork that I could print out. So this is sort of official-ish, sort of backdrops. I got houses. I used an Ewok village tree that I added some toadstool things to and some fake leaves to make a sort of forest canopy either side. So I've made a Smurf village. I keep meaning to go in and add lights and add motors to the windmill so it can turn, but I'll get there eventually. I'm a bit like Squirrel. I'm a bit like, I love the Smurfs, spend some time doing it, and then I get sidetracked and onto something else. So we've done Jim Henson, we've done Wombles and Mr. Men, we've done Smurfs and Asterix. And what we also want to do, now I've got to make you smaller, so I'm going to have to bear with me. If I make you sick, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to... go and grab a cup of tea or something. All right, does this get us down to there? Almost, pretty much. Adventure people. Let's talk about adventure people. This, prior to Star Wars, was the best 3 3/4 inch line. Now, for those of you who don't know, 3 3/4 inch line, quick whistle stop tour, invented by Takara in Japan, who took our 12-inch G.I. Joe figures, reskinned them to be Genshin cyborgs. Then a price crisis hit, gasoline. Plastic was really expensive. They shrunk it down to 3 3/4 inch. 1972, they did that and launched Microman. Microman was the first 3 3/4 inch figure made. All right. Then around the same time, Fisher-Price developed Adventure People, which happened to be the same size. So I don't know how they spoke to each other or whatever happened, or whether it was just coincidence. I don't know that part of the story, but Adventure People was a wonderful series of figures and had a very, very special place in my heart. And my favorite set was the Sea Explorer here. So I picked this up. I'm going to put on my little macro lens here because I want to show you this dolphin. This is 1976. Not a scratch on it. A little blemish there, but that's extra paint. It's as leechy as hell. But when I was little, I used to play with this in the bath, and I used to love this dolphin, and I used to chew it. Remember I used to chew the blue dog? I used to chew the blue dolphin too, and I would chew and chew and chew and chew and chew. So my original one was a lot more battered than this, but when I found him in such pristine condition, I was delighted. So I used to love all the Ranger stuff. I used to love the bikes and this Undersea Kingdom and the camping stuff. I remember this. So Adventure People had a really big part of my life. Equally at that time, why wasn't that shut? Oh, the canoe's in the way. Oh, why is it not shutting? Something's happening. I'll sort it out later. Take this off. So we're going to have one more look, and then I'll come back to the desk cam, and we can have some questions or some comments. Late 70s, Playmobil. Oh my goodness me. Playmobil was just genius play. It's expensive, but I remember having some of the nights. I remember coming home one day from school, and my dad had carved up a polystyrene box that he got at the restaurant for something. I don't know, he bought a new cooker or mixer or something, and he carved it into a castle, you know, with turrets and a little drawbridge and things like that. Now, those of you who knew my dad, which none of you did, he wasn't the most artistic. He was a brilliant chef, but he wasn't good at drawing, and he wasn't good at DIY. So him to make me a castle was very, very special for me. So I had all my medieval. I used to like the cowboys, and I used to like the Robin Hood, and then the fireman. I remember this vividly. I don't know what you call that. What is that called? The fireman catching thing. But yeah, Playmobil. I love, 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 love Playmobil. Right. Let's go back. Let's put you back over here for a second. I'm going to go back to the desk cam, and we'll take a little stock time. All right. For some reason, my door won't shut over here. Why is it not shutting? I don't understand. Is it hitting? It's driving me insane. Why is it not closing? Oh, that's why. There we go. Done it. Here's my drink. So, thoughts. 70s. What was your favourite things? What did you like as a kid? I'm sure there are some of you that were around in the 70s, right? So, a few things. What we got here? Stephen, again, you're gonna win like most interactive. Born in 72, Action Man. Yes. Yes, Action Man. Now, original Action Man, right? Military. Yeah. Kung Fu grip and all that kind of stuff. I worked on Action Man when it came back in 1993. When I joined in 1999, one of my first jobs was actually running the packaging for Action Man. It's down there. We'll have a look at that in a minute. For Action Man. So I love Action Man. My cousin James had a load of the original Action Man stuff, the big zip line tower. Any toy you can put down a zip line is magic, right? It's the best they can do. What else we got? When I was in Germany, I used to use my Playmobil with Star Wars figures to bulk up the line. Yeah. Kids aren't precious, are they? We'll just mix and match no matter what we want. I would often mix up Playmobil and Star Wars and Adventure People particularly. And as you know, the original Star Wars figures were pitched to Lucasfilm by Kenner using modified Adventure People figures. And I have got a custom. Where is my custom? I got a custom figure here of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ben Kenobi, made out of this same Adventure Person character that they used in Kenner, and I kind of remade it and colored it and painted it. So I've got my own version, because goodness me, if you've got that, I don't think that set exists. I think there's one set made. That'd probably be the most. You think the Boba Fett is worth a lot of money that just went recently for like $1.2 million or whatever it was with the rocket firing? If you had the original Adventure People pitch models for Star Wars, that would be incredible. Right, what we got? Always wanted Evel Knievel. I've got an Evel Knievel. I haven't got the bike and the figure because I can't find good enough quality. What I'll find is, like, I'll get the bike and it'll look really great, but the stickers will be rubbish. Or the foot peg breaks, that's a common one. Or on the figure, he gets so dirty and grimy, it's terrible. But I did, that probably sounds horrible, I'm sorry. I do have the van. Why don't I take you on a tour? Let's go up here. I got the van, I got the scramble van. Remember the scramble van? I love that. So I bought this recently and it was all still packed in its plastic inside the box. The box is in actually pretty good condition. Not perfect, but everything was still packed. I've got a unboxing somewhere on my Instagram, but I had this and I had Evel Knievel and the what you call it, the launcher, and I'm desperate to find that launcher in good condition, but I've yet to find it in the condition that is good enough to enter the Mr. Stevie dungeon. But yeah, Evel Knievel was cool. Gonna come back to you. Ah, right. What else? I'm hot. I got on my hair. Oh my God, I need a haircut. Really need a haircut. Anyway, so who else we got? Felt like a fun toy history lesson through your experience. Good. I am very aware I talk quite quickly, and I'm probably losing my breath. And so if you are all keeping up, that's brilliant. I hope it's kind of spurring some thoughts from you all in terms of what you remember from your childhood. And I love it that, like, Dean goes, oh yeah, I always want Evel Knievel, and I can go, I've got him, and I kind of run over there. I think that's what I like about my collection the most, is it's sporadic, or it's eclectic. I just realized I had quite a lot of toys when I was a kid. I think maybe I was a little bit spoiled. I'm an only child, and most people go, yeah, spoiled. Yeah. But my mum and dad used to work in restaurants, and from the age of 5, I used to have to put myself to bed. I love harping on about this. We'd always live next to the hotel or above it in like an apartment, and my mum and dad used to leave me alone in the house at the age 4 or 5, and they would ring me on the telephone, the sort of intercom, and they said, time to bed now, Stephen. I'd put myself to bed. So I was always quite independent. I could wash myself, I could put myself to bed, I could turn off the lights, brush my teeth, all this kind of stuff. So I never thought I was that spoiled. But as I'm collecting all these, I realized, after talking to a lot of you, I realized, like, I actually had quite a lot of toys. Maybe I was spoiled a bit. How embarrassing. Never mind. Anyway. Adam had a $6 Million Man. Yeah, I had the moon thing, the moon outfit as well, Adam. It had like a orange-red helmet, and I remember the boots. I used to chew them as well. I used to chew the boots, I used to chew the dolphin, I used to chew the blue dog. But I haven't got that. I need to buy that, actually. Ken. Yeah, the custom Womble. That's a good point. Again, I told you about squirrels. I'm like, oh, I love that. And then I zoom off and do other things. But for those of you who don't know, I do some custom stuff. And actually, I'm going to kind of do this from my seat. Let me bring this over here. I have a little custom area where I have what do you call those? An airbrush system, and I have my paints, and behind that Mark's cabin thing. So I have a little area that I do all my custom stuff. So I was making a Womble. Where is he? Let's bring it down. Let's bring it here. I think he's in here. Yeah. So I'm making a Womble. So what I did is I got an Alf, the Alf figure that was made by Necker, I think it was, and I broke him apart. I shortened the torso, shortened the legs, flattened off this. I sculpted a new little face, making some ears, and then what I'll do is just, I need a little nose, and I need a little hat, and I need to get a Womble so you can all kind of see if that really looks like it or not. Let me grab Orinoco here. Bring Orinoco in. So I'm trying to make an Orinoco. So obviously not the same scale, but you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to make that little face, trying to make little ears, and then I'll fashion a hat, and I can spray them all sort of white, grey. But yeah, Ken, I need to get back into this. I've been so busy at work recently. Let me come back to you. I've been so busy at work, what with doing Marvel and Star Wars, I haven't had much time to do my customizing, but I need to get back into it. And I also like doing it. I like doing it in the winter for some reason, which is bad because you don't want things to get too cold. So I'm kind of like, it's not the time to do it because it gets quite cold down here in the basement. But so that's my Womble update, Ken. Right. So we did Star Wars. We did 70s stuff. We did some Jim Henson's. We did some Smurfs. We did some Asterix. We did some Playmobil. We did Adventure People. So now we're moving into the 80s, right? So I was born in 73. So in the 80s, you know, early 80s to mid 80s was the time where I was sort of peak action figures. There were some cracking movies that were coming out, E.T., Raiders Lost Ark, all that kind of stuff. And but I was also aging out a little bit, started to age out of toys. You know, society tells us to put away childish things and start growing up and being sensible. Yeah, bollocks to that, I say. I look back now and I'm so glad I kind of didn't really listen to that throughout my life because it's rubbish. It's complete rubbish. You need to hold on to childish things. We need to have playfulness in our lives. All the crap that happens around us will happen without us or not, but you need to retain that innocence and that joy of playing and imagining and being in different places than you are. Like, don't ever lose that. And you're all toy collectors, I would imagine most of you. You've probably discovered that, so well done. So let's go 80s. So before I do, because my voice is really hurting now, I couldn't be a teacher. My wife's a teacher. She talks for like 8 hours a day. Actually, no, she's a teacher. She talks for about 6 hours a day. Beat me up. She hears that. Anna's 12 weeks on holiday. What were your favorite 80s toy lines? Put your answers in the chat. I need to rest my voice for a bit. Shy on me, come on. Action Force, Tony Z. If you like Action Force, that's Tony Z, right? Not Tony Z. Master of the Universe, yeah, that was wicked. That was a good cartoon. I love the new cartoons as well, I have to say, with Mark Hamill as Skeletor. I thought they were really cool. Was that not Redemption? Starts with an R. Revelation? Or I can't remember what it was. Superpowers. I got some superpowers to show you. Love that line. Love that line. I'm a big Superman fan, so in case you don't know. So here's my philosophy on me and my characters. I love Batman. but I love Superman better. I want to be Superman. I love Han Solo, but I want to be Luke Skywalker. I love Wolverine, but I kind of want to be Cyclops. I always go for the Boy Scout. I always go for the goody two shoes hero. And I don't know why. Don't know why yet. I've got to work that out. There's some psychological test I can take on that to work out why I'm a Superman man and not a Batman man. I love Batman. Oh my God, I love the 89 Tim Burton Batman. Oh my God, it's insane. But you can't beat Superman the movie and Superman 2. Amazing. Oh, Defenders of the Earth. Defenders. Super cool. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't have any of those. No, I don't. I don't have those. That came when I was off. I know Ryan, I work with at Hasbro, is a big Turtles fan. I do admire them. I would suggest, I think the line around 2010, 2012 Turtles was probably the best toy line that's been around for a long, long time. That was a great toy line. My goodness me. What else you got? Mask. A lot of people like Mask. Suka. Yeah, it's very popular. It's very popular. I wasn't a Mask man. I wasn't Mask or Transformers. I didn't have any Transformers, I don't think, when I was younger, which Michelino at work rattles me for. But yeah, that sort of Mask Joe stuff was cool. Super, super cool. Yeah, I saw this, Dean. Yes, it's at the cinema, though, so I understand. It's like only in theatres, which is kind of weird, but it'll come on digital. I can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see that at all. All right. So why don't I show you some of the stuff for 80s? I got a lot of the stuff that you were talking about. Not a great deal, but it's interesting. So let's start with what was probably the biggest movie. Where's my phone? I've lost my phone. The biggest movie for me in the 80s was E.T. Now, E.T. was interesting because I loved this movie. You know, I love a lot of things. There's a lot of love in my life, I will be honest. But yeah, E.T. was freaking amazing. I love Spielberg, and E.T. was special. I had everything. I collected everything. I used to get £1.50 pocket money a week, I think, which is probably quite a lot of money back then. And I used to zip down to the to Lipton's, and I would get stationery books. By this time I was drawing. So this is 82. So I was like 9, 10. I was doing a lot of drawing. I knew I liked art. I was good at it, and that's all I spent my money on: stationery for E.T. and comics and things, and the stickers and the cards. So these are the cards that came in this packet of cookies. So I bought this for $60 a few years ago, and it's unopened. And I opened it, and it's still got the cookies in. I've never seen one on offer since then, and I collected these like mad. There is something magic about silver wrappers and the crunchiness, and I was so happy. It's one of the prized pieces in my collection, that. And if you look back at an early edition of Toy Tales, I think it was episode 3, which I made a few years ago. In season 1, I ate one of these, and God, it sticks, and it was not a pleasant experience. So E.T. was big, badges, and they made everything of E.T., but they didn't do enough action figures, I don't think. They had this one by LJN or JLN. LJN. I can never remember which way around it is. I made a custom one. I repainted it and put a little light in his heart. So he sort of flashes, which is pretty cool. So I love E.T. And then if I move over, I'm gonna need my thing. Let's put you on here, and then I'm gonna lower you down. Bear with. The 80s was a very, very special time. It was the time I could start getting my own little pocket money and go and buy my own things. I used to walk down, he says as he can't, come on. And I'd walk down the high street of Thorpe-le-Soken, where I lived. We had a restaurant there. So the 80s was an eclectic time. You know, I was still into Star Wars, but I also had like a Starbird. Remember Starbird, MB? It would convert, you could kind of pull it apart and make different things. I loved Morph. Not many Americans would know what Morph is. I loved Morph. Danger Mouse. There's some great cartoons in the 80s. I even like the Care Bears. Don't tell anybody, but I actually really enjoyed watching the Care Bears. And I used to have some cars. I wasn't massive into cars, but I had, you know, the Bond car, Dukes of Hazzard. I used to love James Bond. I used to love Garfield. Inspector Gadget, got one of these Inspector Gadgets, which I looked ages for to find a perfect one with the elbows. You can get straight armed ones, which were a later model, but I liked the one that you could pose a bit more. I was a big Ipswich Town fan. That was the first soccer to Americans I went to. They played Birmingham in 1981 in January. It's snowing, and they won 5-1, and they used an orange ball, which I remember. Used to collect Panini stickers and Weetabix. And this is my first comic, so you can't really see it here. I had a comic called Nutty Comic, and I remember going into the newsagents where I lived, and it was 10p, probably 10p, on February the 16th, 1980, and it came with a free packet of space dust. And I remember eating space dust. It was the first time I ever ate it, and yeah, you guessed it, I hunted this down. I've got an original packet unopened of space dust from that comic from 1980. Little things like that mean a hell of a lot to me. So to be able to find those little magic things that are worth no money, who cares? Who cares about space dust? But to me, that is another piece of memorabilia that is very, very special. This was an interesting one. I had this laser gun, laser pistol, whatever, and I loved this, and it wasn't any brand. It wasn't from Star Wars. It wasn't from Star Trek. All I remember is that I loved it, and it made a really cool sound. And I spent probably 6 years, 7 years on eBay searching for this nondescript white pistol. And all I used to put into eBay was like white laser gun. Noisy sound pistol, phaser pistol, and of course it would throw up stuff, and I never found it. It spent years and years and years, and then one day just popped up. I got it for like 20 quid, 20 bucks. It was nothing. So that I was super pleased at getting. As he puts that back in like that. There we go. So that's my 80s over there. What else? I've got other 80s stuff. Yeah, so we want to talk about, let's go up. Let's go up. Let's go up and across. Superman. Superman. Kneel before Steve. So Superman, superpowers, that Kenner line. Oh my goodness me. That is some amazing stuff. So I got my Superman, does his little punchy thing. His foot's on it does work. Yeah. Nice condition. I got him. I got Batman, Robin, Aquaman. Haven't got them all. I was always into Superman, Batman, Robin, Aquaman, the main, and Wonder Woman, the main lot. I love the Clark Kent. Something about Clark Kent I like as well. I've got a few Clark Kents I just love. So I think it's brilliant. And then I made a Jor-El. So I saw someone online do a custom, and this was probably my first custom, I think, one of them. And I was just inspired by that. So I just stripped him down, painted him white, made a little water slide deco there, decal, made up a little pattern for the tricot cloth cape. So I made my own little Jor-El there. These are really interesting. These are cards from Sunbeam Bread. And I've got a complete set of this, 1978. I think there's 31, odd number. But these are all original stickers. They're sort of, yeah, they're crackback stickers. But I have a complete set of that. I am a sucker for this sort of 70s artwork of Superman and Batman, the sort of Neil Adams era of, I mean, look at that, look at that. That's so cool. It's so cool. I've also got over here, just picked up last week, you may have seen it on my Instagram, a play set that had these little cardboard cutouts of our heroes. And again, I'm a stickler. Look at that, it's pristine. Most of them are all dented and battered up because most kids just go and ruin it, but not mine. Mine are all neat and tidy. And so again, my favorite one is the Clark Kent. I have this thing about Clark Kent, the design of him. I just really like him and the way he's drawn. Brilliant. So I have some more Superman stuff here. I have, I'm trying to move you up there. So there is a massive injustice in the world. Well, there are lots of injustices in the world, but one of the most the most injustice that affected me was that there wasn't enough toys made of Superman the movie in 1978 at all. There was nothing. I mean, this guy here, I had him for my 6th birthday. And he's supposedly from the movie, but he's not really. He's not. Lunchbox, that's from the movie. That's Christopher Reeve. That, even just looking at that through the camera makes my mouth water, because I can just smell me being 6 again. It's really weird. I had the bubblegum packs. I didn't have the glasses. Didn't have these glasses. I wouldn't be allowed to probably use them at 6. But yeah, there was not enough. Now, I have a good friend, Chris, C. Kingogram, who customizes old Kennerbacks. And he made me a customized Superman, Chris Reeve Superman, as if it was from Kenner from 1978, which I love. He also made me, go down here, Batman one as well. But yeah, there was not enough Superman stuff. I would love to do Superman the movie, proper. They've done it a few bits. Mattel did some here, but they didn't get into it. Like, I'd love a Fortress of Solitude. I'd love a Lois Lane, a Market Killer Lois Lane, all that kind of stuff. So that's Superman. So that's sort of 80s. Oh, I've got to show you this as well. This is another prized possession of my Superman collection. When I was little, I used to go to my nan's house every Saturday to go swimming. Let me turn you around, because you want to. I used to go to my nan's house to go swimming at Homewood House swimming pool, where I learned to swim. I didn't learn to swim until I was like 8 or 9, which is kind of weird. But I used to go there, and we used to go down to her local shop, and I would buy a can of soda, a bag of Wotsits, which are like cheesy kind of, it's almost like cheese balls, cheese puffs. And sometimes we would have a lolly if it was the summer. And a lolly is a popsicle to my American friends. And there was this incredible line of lollies called Superman. And when you, let me get this out, I'm gonna have to use my special thing here. Bear with me. I'm gonna put you into macro mode. Macro mode. Heavy. So when you ate, let me actually find Superman. So you ate the popsicle. You imagine the popsicle there, and then you'd be left with a plastic. And that plastic lolly stick, as we call it, popsicle stick, would be molded as a superhero. So you could get Superman, and you could get all the ones you would imagine. You can get Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman. There's Batman. Obviously, he didn't have the little pointy ears because you couldn't, that'd be too dangerous. But there was 12 of them. 12? Is it 12 there? Yeah, 12 of them made. And take you off that. And I spent ages trying to find them. And you can find odd ones here and there. And there was this one guy who had a full collection. And to my knowledge, he's the only guy that had a full collection that I've ever seen online or talk about it. And I managed to get a full collection, all in all. I think I got them in 3 goes. I got like 1, and I got 2, and then I got all the rest. I keep meaning to, and I'm taking you over to my, or I'm walking over to my customization. I keep meaning to paint. I've prepped him. I've got him masked off and prepped. I keep meaning to paint the Superman. So I'll do that one day. But those lolly sticks are, and again, another prized possession within my collection. You don't see them often. So Superman. Why don't we come down a bit and we'll take a look at this now. You're going to get excited. If you haven't been excited yet, you're going to be excited now. So let's have a look in here. So I call this, actually, let's move over here. Indy! Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Remember that? Kenner, 1982, 1983, short run. And then he did Raiders of the Lost Ark because then the license went to LJN. For Last Crusade, and then no one made any, sorry, for Temple of Doom, and then no one made anything for Last Crusade. What on earth? So got originals. These are all originals. Mark Boudreau, who was in my team for Star Wars, passed away sadly, worked on this Well of the Souls set. Complete indie. Sala, Marion, with the monkey. I got the special monkey. I put him down here with the market trader, but that's the Marion monkey, which is the super rare piece there. And I got all these, talked, got the swordsman. Interesting story on the swordsman. I used to work with a lady called Judy Wallace at Hasbro when I first started in 1999. And this actor was her father-in-law. She just out of the blue just sort of said, "Oh yeah, my father-in-law does some acting. There was a guy in Raiders Lost Ark. I think there's a bit where Indiana Jones shoots him, and I was like, what, the swordsman, the famous swordsman, where they had this whole massive chase across the rooftops, and Harrison Ford had diarrhea, so they just changed it and just shot him." He goes, "Yeah, I think so." And I was like, oh, a small little claim to fame. So I love Indiana Jones. Raiders Lost Ark was one of the best movies ever made. And then I was really happy that we came back and made a new series of retro styled figures recently for Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. So I'm really happy there, and I've even got Belloc's map, which is another rarity. So they're all complete and all in really, really good condition. Okay, that's that. And then we come across now. Oh God, I have got a lot of toys. I've just realised I'm missing a whole little segment, so I'm going to zip down. So we've got Raiders. I've already shown you some of my Tron, but Star Trek the motion picture. We got Buck Rogers. Remember Buck Rogers? I love Buck Rogers. I had a real soft spot for Wilma. Is it Wilma? Yeah, Wilma Deering, wasn't it? I got a hey Buck. So again, to get these figures with the armbands, with the paper, they were just sticky decals stuck around. Like, to get those without being damaged is really difficult. You know, the rest of the figures are kind of like, okay. Star Trek figures, I haven't got the aliens. They are way too expensive and too difficult to get, but I've got my eye out for them. I used to love the Weetabix cards. I got a full set of those. I think it's 18. Yeah, 18 of those. Got a full set of that. Black Hole. I quite like the Black Hole. I watched it recently, and as a kid, I was like, oh, the Black Hole's rubbish. It's not Star Wars. But when I watched it recently, I still think the acting's terrible. But the actual story premise is really good. I'd like to see a reboot of the Black Hole, if I'm honest. And I've got a really, really nicely pristine Vincent. Again, importantly, with all the printing of his name intact. So I've got a few bits and pieces there, like sort of late 70s, early 80s. And then we come down even more for some more 80s stuff. Dukes of Hazzard. Cute, 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 rascal, pico tree. I love the Dukes of Hazzard. 18. Who didn't love the 18? Dun, 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 dun. My cousin used to have the 18 van. I'm still looking for an 18 van. That thing gets bust up low a lot. The front fenders and the wing mirrors get broken off a lot. So I'm actually looking for a packaged, I think it's Ertl. No, it's Galoob. Galoob 80s van. 80s 18 van. In pack, so I know it's going to be pristine, but I haven't found one yet. Clash of the Titans. That was actually a fabulous movie, and a movie that deserved more toys to it. And there's a guy, Josh Izzo, who I know, who's a fantastic customizer. He's made a load of extra figures from Clash of Titans, so you should check him out on Instagram. Brilliant customs. Here's some Action Force stuff. Was it Dean who mentioned it? I can't remember who mentioned it. I apologise. You know, got some Action Force. I had the diver. I had this sort of desert guy. I had the, what's he called? What's that guy called? Black Tom or something? I can't remember what he was called now. Captain Crystar. We released a recent Marvel Legends Crystar based on the original Remco. I think that was 1982, 83, I want to say. Might be wrong. Battle of the Planets. Again, Battle of the Planets. Not enough toys made of those. Not enough. I know you can get sort of odd 6-inch ones, but I'd like a really cool 3 3/4 inch line of Battle of the Planets. Gatchaman. Gremlins. Mork Mindy. Got a bit of Lone Ranger in there as well, just thrown in for good measure, but that's like an 80s eclectic mix. Then we go across here. By the way, I can't see any comments on my toy cam, so if you're making comments, apologies, I'm not ignoring you, but I'm just too into my toys, all right? So this arrangement here, got some real Ghostbusters stuff, and then I go up into Batman and some odds and sods. Now, this was sort of like 80, this was 86 into, yeah, late 80s into 90s. I know Master of the Universe was like 1983, but all these toys here were what I call too old for toys. This is when my mum told me, why are you keeping all your toys, Stephen? You don't need all your toys. You should get rid of them. Give them to Andrew and Christopher. And then I used to go and babysit with Andrew and Christopher, and they had all of these. So I used to play with them when they went to bed. So Real Ghostbusters, one of the best toy lines by Kenner ever. We've got some of our newer sort of renditions of them here, but I got, yeah, no, I have up here. Here we go. I thought they'd gone. I got the original core first series. I know they did lots of different series with like yellow suits and glow in the dark and all that kind of stuff, but I got the original Ecto one. I got this Ecto one in box without the decals, the decals applied. So there's a Instagram post somewhere of me doing that, putting those on. Again, I like that. I like the process. I like the ritual of getting toys out and putting stickers on or assembling them. So that's another reason I often buy them in their box and then open them up. So I've got a lot of, oh yes, I forgot I did him, a custom Smurf Buster. So I've got a few bits and pieces there, and then I move up to Batman. I didn't collect a lot of Batman. I love the movie. I was big into Danny Elfman's soundtrack and the art. This was the point in time in my life, 1989. So I was 16. Yeah, I wanted to be a graphic designer, and the way that Batman was sold with just that logo, you know, on posters in England, I think it was August 23rd. It just had August 23rd. I think in America it's like July 16th or something. It was released, but like, the way that Batman was marketed was a massive inspiration for me to get into graphic design and into sort of marketing and that kind of stuff. I mentioned that Chris made me a Kenner Batman, which I love. So I've got some nice pristine Master Universe. I've got some nice Kenner Batman stuff, just a smattering. I've got this amazing Robocop with a working cap. I've got an Instagram of that. If you're not on my Instagram, check it out, and you might have to search a little bit, but I've got an unboxing of that where I'm firing off the caps, which work well. I have to put this on here now because I want to show you my liner. I'm very proud of this. So again, a little bit, I'm too old for toys, but I loved the Thundercats animation. I watched it religiously while I didn't have the toys. I used to play with them. So this one here is a really pristine, I'll put the macro on because I want a close up of this. Nice pristine Lion-O, complete with his, obviously his, but most importantly, I can make his eyes light up. Still works. Look at that. That is so pleasing. Oh, imagine being a little kid in those days and you could just power up the eyes. That is special. That is real special. So I've got a really nice Lion-O. I do want some more Thundercats because I think the character design Thundercats is brilliant. I really want to. What was the god called? Jager? Jager? I like him, but he's super rare to get. But I like all the rest. Got some Visionaries. Got some Bill and Ted's. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a great movie. I love the Extreme did Come Play With Me. That soundtrack is just awesome. So I've got a few of those. I would like the phone box as well, just to kind of complete that little set. Cause I don't have to have everything, but I like to sort of have like a little set. So like I've got like the car with the characters here. I've got the Well of the Souls with the characters. I feel my Rufus and Bill and Ted needs the phone box. So that is 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's a big chunk of stuff. We'll move to more over 90s over here in a minute, but I'm going to come back to y'all, take some more questions, and have a drink. Are you enjoying it so far? How's it going? How long have we been doing this? Can't see. There's no timer. I think like an hour and a half. So what do you reckon? You like it? Don't like it? Oh, who's this? Tony Z. Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. That is one of my grails. I have a few, you might have noticed, I have a few cereal boxes. I've got a Batman, I've got a Frankenberry, which we'll get into in a minute. I want the ET one, which is expensive, but that's Superman Shreddies. I got the ET transfers from Shreddies, but that's Superman 2 Shreddies with the transfers. It's the final battle in Metropolis with Zod, Non, and Ursa. Ursa is the one I want, and I could have bought it. I found it on eBay for like $150, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I passed on it because I was like, that's a bit expensive. Idiot. Like, I want that. I want that. What else you got? What's this one? I should read these questions before I punch them up. Working on Marvel line after initial training. What character totally unfamiliar? A lot. I was really unfamiliar with a lot. Which you come to love. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't aware of Crystar. I wasn't aware of Crystar, but when Dwight came to me and sort of said, hey, I want to do some like older retro, like left field, like funky stuff from like late 70s and from the comics. And, you know, we often talk about ROM, which we've announced, ROM and Crystar and things like that. So I delved into the comics and I read the comics and took it through. And it has this sort of charm of being like late 70s, kind of kooky writing. It's kind of really weird. So I have a soft spot for Crystar. But apart from that, I knew Marvel stuff, and we'll get into X-Men. We'll go there next, actually. I don't know whether there was a character I didn't know that I really, really love. I suppose Crystar. Crystar's your answer on that one. Yeah, Presto, Magic, and Colour Forms were cool. I got a Colour Form. I love it when people say things, and I've got one. So I've got a Colour Form. I got one Colour Form. Whoa, up here. I got a Pac-Man Colour Form. I love this character design as well. Like, I don't know what it is. I've got a few Pac-Man. Let me take you over there. Hang on a second. I love all this kind of random just crap I have. I got some Pac-Man. Now they're modern ones. They're not old-fashioned ones, but I got like a Gashapon Pac-Man, which I think is this one, and then I can't remember the brand. Can't remember, but anyway, great character design. I remember watching him. I'll put you back. I remember watching him when I came over to America in 1983. 1983, I was 10 years old. Came over to America on family holiday. 3 weeks. That's a long time. And we went to Disney World and all this kind of stuff. And that's where I discovered Mad magazine. I found a Mad magazine in a trash bin or something. I was like, oh, what's this? Started reading it. And then E.T. was big, so I was mad on E.T. And then Pac-Man. So that sort of early 80s Americana has a big effect on me. So I love the Pac-Man. I'd like to get more older Pac-Man stuff. But another story. Let's do a story on America. So 1983, came to America, 3 weeks holiday. It was the best holiday I ever had. Me and my mum and dad never used to have many vacations because they were working too hard in the restaurant. So when we went to America for 3 weeks, that was a big deal for me. And the biggest thing that made an impression on me were your cereal boxes, your cereal aisle. Going down the cereal aisle was a bombardment of characters and color and sugar. And I just was like, what is this place? Because in England, we would get our most sort of outrageous cereal was Kellogg's Frosties, you know, Tony the Tiger. That was probably like, whoa. But over here, Frankenberry, Count Chocula, Fruit Loops, you know, all this kind of weird and wonderful stuff. And ever since then, I've had a very soft spot for Fruit Loops. When I came back, we had friends in America, and they'd send me a box every Christmas. That would be their present for me, box of Fruit Loops, and I'd devour it. And actually, weirdly, I prefer the actual smell of unmilked Fruit Loops. Can you say that? Unmilked. I love the smell of a box of Fruit Loops more than the actual taste. So, as I developed my career in graphic design and marketing and merchandising, I was fascinated by cereal mascots. You know, the way that they came from like late 60s and how they, you know, informed kids and helped educate them, although they were, you know, not very nutritious. But cereal mascots has a big thing for me. So I've got a collection of cereal mascots, which again, many of you probably know. So why don't I take you over to the cereal mascot shelf and we'll take a little look at what I've got. So let me close these doors first because I don't want my cats running in and rugby tackling my figures. Let's go over here. So down here I have my cereal mascot. So I told you I went in 1983, I went in March. I found a box of 1983 around March, a box from Fruit Loops, for Fruit Loops from that era that I'd been in. So the first box of Fruit Loops I ever had in 1983 was probably the same design. So I love stuff like that. Toucan Sam, I love him. I got loads of different iterations, mostly old-fashioned, but I do like the newer. I don't mind buying new ones, new figures, new toys, if it's of the retro design. Like I wouldn't buy Toucan Sam in his new design because it doesn't hold anything for me, but that's beautiful. Love that. I think that's Medicom as well. So I've got Toucan Sam, I've got Tony the Tiger, I got a lot of these plastic meatballs. Again, old-fashioned but new, love it. Got some of the Cause, yes, Cause. You know, they do all the monster stuff every October. They release new box designs, so I think they're really neat. I got the Jada, Frankenberry, Count Chocula. I got some custom-made patches, some stickers. I got a little key fob that's actually a really nice design. And then I have the little cereal prizes of, what are they called? Cereal Squad? Something like that. So I'm fascinated by designs of mascots. So that is my cereal. What have I got? Oh, yeah, I've got, up here I've got the Frankenberry lenticular eyes box. I've got Batman cereal up there as well. Let's come back to you. So cereal, mascots, food design, just general promotional design I'm really fascinated by and enjoy doing. What else we got? Hi. Oh, we got someone from Germany. Dominic. What do you think of the Jada Toys one? It's got a car from Knight Rider. I'm not aware of it. Not 132. How big's that? That's small, isn't it? I haven't seen it. I know who you mean by car, but I don't know. I have to look at it. Does it come with a figure? Probably wasn't, because Car was just on his own, wasn't he? I know. Can't remember the name of the company. Something like Mancina. It's like an Italian company. Did a Knight Rider with like a 6-inch Michael Knight. In my brain, I think there is a 3 3/4 Michael Knight, but I'm not sure. I'd like a 3 3/4 inch Michael Knight done in the Mego O-ring style from Dukes of Hazzard. That would be cool. I dig that. Right, so where have we got to? Got up to sort of like 80s, got into we're just touching on the 90s, haven't we? So how long we got left? We'll keep going. 3, so I've done, oh yeah, an hour and a half, hour and 3/4, done quite well. You all still with me? Or is it just Dominic? So let's talk about Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park! And for those of you who know Alan Partridge, you'll get that reference. Vast majority of you won't know that reference, but there we are. So Jurassic Park, 1993. I was at Brighton. I was studying my degree in graphic design. I wanted to get into movies or toys or anything like that. And this juggernaut of a movie was announced. I'd read the book prior to the movie being announced, Michael Crichton's book, and it was. I don't read books often, but I read that one, and it was wicked. So I was very, very excited, and the hype behind that movie. And again, it's a bit like the Batman movie, wasn't it? It was like, here's a logo with a date with maybe like a shadow or some prongs of palm trees and things, and it was very mysterious, and it was just incredible. And I had some of the figures, and as you know, they were Kenner figures. Seemingly they didn't have reference of the actors on set, because none of the figures looked anything like the actors apart from Ian Malcolm. I'd say Ian Malcolm. That's how I talk to myself whenever I think I've got the name right or wrong. I ask myself. Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum, but the others didn't really look like anything like them. You could argue Sam Neill, I guess, but quite generic. But great figures, brilliant dinosaurs, lovely features, good big play sets. Playsets were getting big, like the enclosure playset. And you could buy everything. You could buy lunch boxes, t-shirts, hats, whatever. I used to buy a few bits and pieces. Bearing in mind I was at university, so I was buying and selling Star Wars stuff. So I had a few Jurassic Park stuff. Not a lot, but I was aware of it and enjoyed it and liked how it was being marketed. So as I started building all of this, I was like, I better get Jurassic Park. There better be a Jurassic Park bit. So I've got one shelf of Jurassic Park, which I'll take you to. Welcome to Jurassic Park. I'll take you across. I may have to get you even lower. We're moving down, 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 deeper and down. I am going to have to make you smaller. Just going to take you right down. Just so you know, I have you on a tripod here. So I keep having to make the legs smaller to be able to do this. Oh, that. So Jurassic Park. Oh, he's fallen over. Idiot. So I've got a few figures. You know, I've got Timmy. I've got to remember the names now. Alan, Tim, Ellie, Ian. Clever girl. What was his name? Oh, come on. It looks nothing like him though. Looks absolutely nothing like the actor. So I got that. I like just having the gates. I don't need the whole thing. I've got some of the fences, but I just wanted to create like a little memory shelf. Most important thing about the gate is that I've got both. That took me ages to find one that had both flames, because they are the things that pop off and disappear first, and that the stickers are intact. So I found a gate. I remember these cups. I had these cups. I don't know where they're from actually. They're probably different in England, whether it was Burger King or McDonald's. I'm not quite sure. Who had the license for that? Who was it? Oh, it was McDonald's. Got that. They never made a John Hammond figure, which I was always kind of was surprised at. But yeah, no kid's going to want the old dude. So I made one myself. I made him. I used a Friar Tuck figure from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and painted him up, and got a hat from Alan Grant. Got another one of those, and so made his little cane. I thought it was quite good. I quite like that. That was quite a successful one, although he keeps falling over. He's going to fall over. Love Weetabix. So those of you who know me know I like Marmite. If you don't know what it is, Google it. And Weetabix. My two if there were two food brands that could define me as a person, it would be Weetabix and Marmite. So in England, and I think in America as well, you could get Weetabix, and inside each pack, you would find a dinosaur card that you could, I think these are stickers, or you could kind of create like little stand-ups, and then you could either stick them on here or put them in front and make like little scenes. Yeah, whatever. But as I was really starting to get into collecting, I was fascinated with these cards. I was like, I've got to get a complete set. And I'm going to admit something to you. I found it really difficult to get a complete set because there's only so much Weetabix I can eat, and I didn't have much money being a student, even if I did sell Star Wars figures. So what I did, I wrote to Weetabix, and I pretended to be a mum, that I had 3 children. And when I opened the Weetabix pack, much to my horror, there were no cards at all in there, and I thought that was disgusting, because now I've got 3 very upset children who want the Jurassic Park cards. And so I wrote a very stiff letter to Weetabix saying, find it disgusting. And they sent me a whole box full. They sent me a whole stack of these cards, which I don't have. I don't know what I did with them, but like, I was a little naughty getting those. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to do what you need to do. No harm came of it. And then, you know, these little eggs here. Still got a little candy. I will not eat them. So Jurassic Park was a wicked time. I'm actually thinking, now I'm talking about this guy, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That was 1991. That was the second time I went to America. And if I go over here, now these figures are not rare. They're not. But it's a good example. I got like these bins, you've seen them on Tron. What's this one? Yeah. So I've got all the Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves figures. And they're not particularly that expensive or particularly rare, to be honest with you, but my God, they're well made. Kenner did a great job with this, and I know they did it very, very quickly. This was like one of those last minute, hey, we got this movie, we think it's actually going to be really hot. Do you want to make some figures out of it? And then the toy company goes, yeah, let's do that. And then they go, well, we haven't got time to do new tooling. What can we repurpose? So you know the story of repurposing, where is he? The Gamorrean Guard for Friar Tuck. You know, they took the Gam Guard. Where is he? Why can't I see him? Oh, yeah, at the back. Took the Gam Guard, popped off his head, changed a bit on his legs, and recolored him, and that made Friar Tuck, which made him a very strange height compared to Robin Hood. I don't think he was that small. It's not too bad. And they reused the Ewok village and all that jazz. You know the stories. But Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is one of those movies I really love, actually. I went to America, saw that. I saw Hook. And I saw Terminator 2. And I don't have any Terminator figures, actually. But I do have one Hook figure. And that will lead us nicely into this random part of my collection that I have, Peter Pan. So let me tell you about Peter Pan, first of all. My first, open the door. My first cinema experience when I lived in Canada, remember I told you I lived in Canada when I was like 2-ish, was to go and see Peter Pan. And I was utterly besotted with going to the cinema, and I was utterly besotted with Peter Pan, in particular Tinkerbell. I don't know why, I just had this thing for Tinkerbell, and ironically that is my nickname that my mum and my dad used to call me, and they still do. They call me Tink. So if you know me very well and you feel brave enough, you can call me Tink or Tinker. So I have this massive affinity with Peter Pan, and even just looking at these figures now, I get quite emotional, to be honest with you. And so there's not a lot of Peter Pan stuff out, and I only collect the Peter Pan figures that are from the 1953 Walt Disney movie. So I pick up things, I say that, I've got a hook in there, but I pick up ones that look like he did from the movie. That one's just about, that's an old Mattel 1968, I think, figure. I've still got the knife. I've got these, I think these are marks, molded, bright colors. But then I've got some more modern ones. I've got the Infinity, the toy box, Peter Pan. There's the Hook. I love that movie. So Peter, you've become a pirate. It's one of the best lines ever. Peter Pan, oh Peter Pan book with the illustration. This is my prize Peter Pan. So this is Infinity. You remember playing Infinity from Disney? You used to get these characters, you'd pop them on a reader and they would appear in the video game and you'd play with them. Infinity version 1, version 2, and on version 3 they were going to introduce the Peter Pan, and they cancelled it in version 3, and this never actually got produced. So only sort of samples or test samples exist, and I've got one, and I have to say it is one of the nicest Peter Pan sculpts I've seen. So I spent a long time trying to find a really nice one of those. Love that. So Peter Pan is very, very special to me, and this is a special shelf, and for my mummy too. Why don't we go up? 80s. I know we got 90s, but I've missed out stuff. Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, who liked Dungeons and Dragons cartoon? Me. It was like one of the best cartoons ever made, and I stand by that. It's one of the greatest cartoons ever made, and I was pissing myself with expectation when I heard that the team at Hasbro, we were going to do these animated versions. I knew they were coming out like a year and a half before they actually hit shelves. And I was like, every other week, I'd be like, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? How are they doing? What ones are you doing? Are you doing Avenger? How are you doing it? So I think they were happy to get these out just so I would shut up. But I love Dungeons and Dragons. I used to paint. Actually, I need my little I used to paint Citadel figures. So I'm going to try and hold you up and raise the... That's not going to work, Steve. Not going to work at all. I'm going to put on the little macro lens because I want to show you some of these lead figures. If you are too young to remember lead figures, I'm so sorry. I don't make them now because they're lead. But where was my favourite one? This guy. Oh my God. Orcs. Do you remember lead figures? So I used to collect these Citadel miniatures and then paint them. I have one painted. It's not mine that was painted, but I remember painting this ogre thing. I can't remember his name. It's like Bone Crusher something. So I used to love that. I collected some of those, the ones I remember, and I've even started collecting the Citadel paints. This was in 1987. These were from. And, oh God! Oh, I've broken that. What you made me do? But there's paint still in there. So I love all that. Lord of the Rings. Remember Ralph Bakshi's 1978 Lord of the Rings? That animation where they used to do what's called rotoscoping. So they'd film people acting and then they'd trace over them, especially the orcs and the large crowd scenes and the battle scenes. And it gave this really spooky look. But I loved that movie. Thought it was brilliant. And Knickerbocker did a very short series of 8 figures from Lord of the Rings 1978 Ralph Bakshi, and they are flipping expensive. Oh my goodness. And that is probably one of my grails. I've got Aragorn, I've got Gollum, but they did Sam, Frodo, Gandalf, Ringwraith. That's it. Is that 8? I need some horses as well, but I want a complete set of those. But they go for like hundreds and hundreds, thousands if they can. So, and you very rarely find the swords with Sam and Frodo, but I want that. Okay. So that's some Lord of the Rings stuff. Done Jurassic Park. Let me come back to you and see what you're saying, because I can't see your comments when I'm on my remote camera. Oi. My son Sam, who's 21 now, was my first movie was Peter Pan. Sam's first movie was Cars. He has a love for cars that will never leave him, ever. And I used to buy him the little cars. And I lived in England that time, and I was coming over to America, and the amount of the different types of cars stuff you could get over here was far more than you could get in England. So I used to come over here a couple of times a month, or once every 2 months, sorry. And I used to pick up cars ready for Christmas. So he'd have a big box of cars. And the one car he wanted more than anything in the world was Darryl Cartrip, who I believe, he was like a pundit in the movie where they would be doing the races, and the commentator, and they'd have Darryl Cartrip. And that, for some reason, Darryl Cartrip is what Sam wanted, and I got him a Darryl Cartrip. And I have a video of him opening his cars at Christmas when he was about 3, and he was over the moon. Darryl Cartrip. So yeah, I love cars. Who couldn't? Weetabix, what's there? Weetabix is great stand-up cars. Yeah. So I've got the Star Trek one. You're right, Tony. I got the Star Trek ones. They did an Asterix one years ago, which I wasn't aware of. And I've been eating Weetabix all my life. I was not aware of an Asterix one, but they do an Asterix, and that goes for a lot of money. There's one on eBay at the moment. It's a full set. It's like $500. That's a bit too much for me. But Asterix is cool. Yeah, the Doctor Who ones. They also did DC as well. They did some DC heroes. I had those. They did Superman and Superboy. And I remember as a kid, I think that was my first introduction to Superboy through the Weetabix cards. And I was like, why is this Superboy? That's rubbish. I want Superman. Why not? I don't want like a little one. I don't want to have one like me. I want Superman to be older and kind of like a heroic father or big brother figure. So yeah, aware of those. Weetabix did some great stuff. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Muldoon. Clever girl. You're a clever Adam. Well done. Didn't he have big thighs? The actor. Now, who was the actor? English guy. What's his name? Can't remember. Massive thighs. I remember thinking in his shorts, like, that guy's like, didn't give up on leg day. He's just done legs. Secret Wars. Yeah. So funny you should say that, because it's his 40th birthday, right? This year. I've seen some things coming out on Secret Wars. But yeah, I don't remember having the figures. That was Mattel, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Mattel. I did have the comics. I remember I was ill. I was sick. I had like mumps or measles or something like that. I was 10, so which house would I have been in? I would have been at Thorpe, wouldn't I? I remember being ill. I remember my mum buying me a bottle of Lucozade. All you people in England know what Lucozade is. All those you don't know what Lucozade is, look it up. It's basically like Gatorade, but it's like orange, bright orange, and came in a glass bottle and was wrapped in like orange cellophane. It was like magical. You only ever had it when you were ill. Never any other time. She bought me a bottle of Lucozade and Secret Wars comic #1. I remember the cover with all of them going together. And that was kind of like when I got into comics a little bit. I'm not a massive comic collector. I kind of liked a little bit here and there, but then I did get into it in the early 90s. We'll go and see comics in a minute. Thank you. You've shortened your name, Anthony. But yeah, I was interested in it, but more in the comic style. So why don't we go and talk comics for a bit? Because in the early 90s, 91, 92, 93, yeah, about 3 years, I was a massive comic collector. My friend Simon, Dean, who now lives in Japan, and Richard Elkington, who was my best friend when I was younger. Sadly, he passed away 5 years ago. Suddenly, we were all big comic collectors. It was all about which comics could we get. And bear in mind, in those days, it was all about Jim Lee X-Men. It was Jim Lee X-Men. It was McFarlane's Spider-Man 1. We all bought the early Spider-Mans. We all bought Spawn when he broke off into Image, and Jim went with him. So it's all X-Men and Image comics around those sort of 3 years. They were like rock and roll stars, weren't they? The comic artists back in those days. So I got a few comics sitting over there. So why don't we go and have a look? Oh, let me flip you over. He said. Let's take you down here. This is the low one, so I'm going to put you on a little one here. Comics. All right. So what have I got for comics? Let me just careful this doesn't fall apart. So I was a big X-Men fan. I collected all the series 1 with all the holograms. Where are they? There, got all the holograms. I got series 2 and 3 in there, I think. And then most especially, now this isn't the original one, but when I collected all series 1, I sent off for this binder. And I'm not sure if they did it in America, but they did it in England. I think it was like £50. It was a lot of money to buy this binder. And it came back, and I was very, it was complete. Sadly, years and years and years later, I sold all my comics, including this, and I regretted it. So I was amazed that I found this again. It didn't cost me that much money. It goes for a lot now if you got this binder. But that is the official X-Men series binder there. I got some comics here. These are the ones that I just bought, ones that meant a lot to me, that I remember the most. X-Men, X-Force, Spawn, Spidey. New Warriors was cool. Guardians of the Galaxy was my first line that I collected, my first book that I collected. I went into a comic store in Colchester called Ace Comics. It's still there, although it isn't in its original place. And I went with my mate Dean and Richard, and we just each chose a comic book line that we would collect that we could get from one. And I chose Jim Valentino's Guardians of the Galaxy. Everyone laughed at me because they were like, it's a bit hokey. Why do they look like they're from the 70s? It's a bit old-fashioned, but I liked it. I liked Guardians of the Galaxy. So that means a lot to me. New Warriors was another one I started collecting. Spidey, Spawn, yada, yada, yada. I got some stuff here. So my friend Richard, who passed away suddenly, I went to his funeral, and his lovely wife said to me, her name's Nikki, Richard still had all his comics. She said, take some home with you, just to remember him by. So I took the ones that meant the most when we were collecting together as a group. Just so happens it's first Deadpool. I remember when he came out, Richard loved Deadpool. I collected the New Mutants, so that one was a special one. Got a Jim Lee signed Wildcats. Everything was chromium covers and gold covers, wasn't it, in those days? Again, more New Mutants 100, I remember that. And I remember, have I got the gold version of that? I thought I had the gold cover. And gold covers, the holographic promotional giveaway, or you could buy it for like £1. And then we got a little bit of Valiant. My mate Dean and Richard got into Valiant, Turok, and Exo Man of War, and all that kind of stuff. So I've got some comics. I haven't got a massive amount. I like getting the X-Men cards, buying those unopened boxes. I got some weird and wacky, kind of old-fashioned. I got a complete set of these stickers, like sticker cards, Marvel sticker cards. I think there's like, again, weird numbers, like 41 of them. It's a strange number. Must be the way that they get cut. What year is that? 1970, can't see, 1976. So trading cards and comics I was into, but my collection is small and compact and bijou, as they call it. Now I need to put all these back, so just bear with me a little bit while I just kind of rearrange these, if you will, because I don't want to leave these out because my cats will start sniffing around. I'll just spread those out a bit. You occupy yourselves for a little bit. Lock that in there. Yes, that happened. I bet you're all wondering when that would happen. Well, it just did. Such is the collector's lot in life. Am I not correct? Things falling down. I just got a adventure, people going on an adventure there. Wasn't too bad. That could have been a lot worse. I also knocked over. Ah, crap. Knocked over my Richard Scary stuff as well. Actually, we haven't spoken about Richard Scary. Do you guys remember Richard Scary? Cars and trucks and things that go. I should have shown you this at my preschool stuff. I was enamored with this book, again, because of all the characters and all the artwork. And I recently discovered Puzzle Town, which is this green system of building up play sets to have with these rotor-molded or blow-molded kind of figures from the books, which are actually pretty accurate to the characters. We had some later ones in like the 90s, which they weren't really that similar to what was in the books, which I enjoyed. But Super 7 have started issuing Huckle Cat and I can't remember their names, Banana Gorilla or something like that. But these are really nice. So I hope to see more of these, my friends at Super 7. But I collect all the cars. I was fascinated by the cars, the apple car, the donut car, the pickle car. I've got over here, waiting to go in there, the carrot car. I think I just need the egg car and the banana car at that scale to finish this, but I am going to run out of space. I don't know how the earth I'm going to fill that out, but I got to redo that shelf for certain. What else I got? Oh, while I'm down here, I might as well keep going. Open you up. Got some Lego. So I don't collect a lot. I love Lego. Arguably the greatest toy ever invented. Okay, I will say that, even though it's not my company, but brilliant. But I do love the Lego figures. I love the character design. So I pick up Lego figures of things that I enjoy, usually from sort of pop culture stuff. So I've got, I've got the complete set of Ghostbusters. I've got some of the Sesame Street stuff. Friends, Jurassic Park. I love the Jurassic Park ones. I got the Scooby-Doo. I got the rare, what's her name? It's Velma. I always say Wilma, but it's not. It's Velma, isn't it? I got her. My rarest one is a Barb from Stranger Things, from San Diego Comic-Con in her pack. That goes for a decent amount of money. Not that I'm interested in selling them. I have Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Batman, the old 60s Batman I really liked as well. Let's bring you in there. Hold that steady for you. Back to the Future. So I love picking up the odds and sods little characters, and they're pretty clever. They often put the characters in with bigger sets, You know, it's not just us that does that. So the '89 Batman with Vicky Vale and Nicholson Joker. I had to buy the Batmobile, which I like doing. I make them, but I don't keep the sets made. I just make them, and then I actually use them for customization and making molds and things. So I got a little bit of Lego, not a lot of Lego, but it's still pretty cool. And then while I'm down here, we're nearly done actually. While I'm down here, this is my sort of Hasbro shelf. So as I said, I did a lot of things on Action Man, did Action Man packaging. I worked on Alpha Teens on machines, sort of making style guides and designing the suits and characters. I came up with some of the character names and worked with a TV show, which then moved me into working on TV shows. I worked on Chuck and Friends. I worked on Transformers Rescue Bots as a creative consultant. So my job would be to help inform and evoke what the characters would do based on toys and make the toys do what they would do if they were characters. So it's sort of like brand and continuity, I guess is probably the word for it. I did a load of work on Monopoly. I redesigned Monopoly and ran that for 3 years. What else I got? I've got things that I bought. What was the first thing? Oh, this Angry Beavers was the first thing I bought with my Hasbro purchasing card back in 1999. So I've still got that. I invented a dice. Got some other stuff. We did some Action Man. They've fallen over. Action Man, Alpha Teens on machines, kind of prototypes and things like that, just kicking around. That's my Hasbro shelf. And if I come over here while I'm on my knees, I'll show you some extra Star Wars stuff. As you know, I've worked on Star Wars 2014. I've only got one carded figure. I've got Leia. I'd love to have more, but it's just very expensive. This is a super rare Han Solo Force Awakens with grey hair in box. It is number 18, which is a special number in the Evans family. I keep that boxed up in honor of my dad because he didn't see that I'd made it to that, but he just reminds me he was an old rogue. Got the photoreal Ray, Rex. I got some Zuvio. I love Zuvio. I'm a big Zuvio fan. Captain Rex. I got Mark Boudreau, who I worked with, a figure that he made in 96 or 97, something like that. Brian Goldner, who was our CEO at Hasbro, they all passed away. So these three people, John Farmer, Mark Boudreau, and Brian Goldner, all passed away sadly, but they've all been immortalized in some way. So I've got them just kind of watching over me. Got a bit of porcelain layer there, which is cool. I go down, I got some of the modern retros. I got Christmas cards from Lucasfilm. I got the original mock-up of Ray from when I helped relaunch TVC back in 2018. That was the pitch model I made. I kind of, hey, we could bring this back. Haslab stuff, you know. I've got my barge up here, which I think you've all probably sick to death of seeing, but I helped instigate and come up with the concept of what Haslab is. And so when I left the team, all the teams signed the barge. So there's my priceless barge. I've got Mark's signature, which is the most important one there. I love Haslabs. I love the barge. Love Star Wars. Love Hasbro. And there's a whole load of stuff there. So I got odd bits and pieces. I got Pez. I like Pez. If you haven't been to Pez and you're in Connecticut, it's Orange. It's a town called Orange in Connecticut. There is a Pez museum or it's a Pez factory, but they have a museum. You pay $5, you go in, go to it. It is so inspiring. The amount of innovation and the things that they've done on Pez since, when did they launch it? I can't remember now. It's like 1962. Is incredible. Visit the Pez Center. I've got my super rare Chewy. There's only 400 made, although there isn't 400 in existence because I ground up about 25 because we didn't give them away. So it's 375 odd in the world. I've got one of those, obviously. Another Mark signature down there, I think, on the tank. And that is about it, really. I got my Marvel Legends, so the more modern stuff, you know, Marvel Legends we did. I really enjoyed this line. Anything that's sort of retro, I love, and I just love it. It's like a candy store. You look at that, it's just like candy, candy, color, color, candy, candy, color. Sadly, we rested it. We did about 50 figures. I got some rarer color options here, and I got Ghost Rider bike that looks a little bit different from what was finally made. But you never know, maybe we'll bring that back. It was fun doing it. We just got to make sure there are enough people into it and ready to buy it. But I had a soft spot for that, as you probably well know. Odds and sods down here. I got some bits and pieces from the Epic line. I got a crocheted Sentinel, which I love. Worked hard on Spider-Man and Friends, the preschool animated series. I was there to launch the first season and toy line of that with my good friend Greg, who's still on it. He's a brilliant designer. And oh my goodness, and here we go. Clearly, this is my Marvel Legends lot. I'm embarrassed to say, Dwight, Ryan, Dan, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened here. There's clearly a ruckus. So as I say, I don't collect all the Legends, but I do pick up bits and pieces once in a while, and I kind of like what I like. And I haven't really worked out how to collect Legends. I don't quite know. I like the Spider-Verse stuff because I like the styling, but then I love the zombie stuff. Power Princess is awesome. I got to tidy this up. What a mess. But not quite sure yet. I've got to work out my angle for Marvel Legends that fits within my collecting principles and keeps me sane. So, in terms of stuff, I will give you a quick last little look. I've got some Wonka stuff, some Moomins. Do you remember the Moomins? Love the Moomins. Up here, I've got some boxes, Starbird, Jimmy. Anyone in England my age, you would remember that. It's a soccer, football, electronic game. And then on top of my shelves, I got some stuff there. I got a Steve Caballero deck, which I could never have when I was younger skateboarding. I couldn't afford the big decks. I wanted him or Tony Hawk. Some ET stuff. It's my barge. You've seen that. And just some stuff. And then you've got in my corner there all the stuff that I need to get into my cabinets, which I don't quite know how I'm going to do it, bearing in mind they don't make Dettol's anymore. And then, my sort of customizing area, my work area when I'm working from home. It's my wife's workout area. And then we've got all my stuff. So there you go. You have truly seen everything of my basement. My voice is now officially shot. I really need a wee, he says as he drinks all this. But I'm happy that you joined me. I know a lot of you have stayed the course. Let me see what questions we got here. Dean. Dean, you were here from the very, very beginning, were you not? You were even waiting. Dean joined difficult to say. Dean joined the waiting list 30 minutes before we even started. But anyway, are you getting the Haslab Cantina and Ghosts? Yes, I have them on order. Where am I going to put them? That's a very good question. I'm probably going to go... up there. I can get the Cantina in there. I can take out the G.I. Joe and some of the Hot Toy stuff. I can arrange the Cantina in there. Or I may break it apart, because the beautiful thing about the Cantina is you can actually break it down and kind of make it manageable. And I can probably create a Cantina scene within one of these. So I might allocate one of those squares to the Cantina. And then the Ghost, I was looking at it, I was playing with it on Friday actually. It's massive, but a third of it does break off because it sort of has wings. So I might rotate it with the Razor Crest. So I'm not quite sure yet, but I do have a lot of, actually I haven't shown you my cupboard. This is my spares cupboard. That's my son. This is my spares cupboard. So I have some spares in here. So somewhere in here, and I can't for the life of me see where they are, I've got a load of Rebels figures that I did when I joined the team in 2014. So I'm going to put my 5-point articulated Rebels figures with my Ghost, because I don't really collect the TVC. I actually kind of find the 5-point more charming and more relevant to my childhood. So you can see if I go to the Razor Crest, I don't have the TVC as there. I have 5 points, or the retros with it. It's just the way I collect. Just what I do. So I'll come back. So yes, what else we got? What's the last show TV you saw instantly? I wish there were figures from this. and you may be able to inform me, you may tell me that there are figures. I really enjoy Superman and Lois. I'm looking forward to the 4th season on the CW. And it's like, I kind of would like a Superman and Lois from that. That would be kind of cool. Well, that's not really a toy line, is it? What did I see? Dune. I enjoyed Dune as well. It's quite serious. It's not sort of kiddie toy. So I don't know how to answer that. But there you go. Superman and Lois and Dune. I'm sure you can get Dune figures. But there we are. What else have we got here? I'm just scrolling back here. So anyway, I promised some giveaways, didn't I? I've got a couple of things to give away. So I'm gonna give one to Dean, because you were there from the very beginning, Dean. So Dean, I've got 2 things you can have, and you may already have them. I've only got a couple of things, but you are more than welcome to have them. Hopefully you're in the States. So let me know what country you're in, Dean, because shipping these things abroad is a pain. But you can have a chrysanthemum. I think this is San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, unopened. You can have one of those. Or you can have, this one's actually quite rare, difficult to get hold of, but don't know if you're a Legends fan. Deadpool and Bob. This was, I think this is San Diego exclusive as well. Can't remember. But Dean, put in the chat, if you're still here, which I'm sure you are, which one you're in, bloody in the UK. Do you need chrysanthemum? Ipswich? Oh, well then you probably were at that match that I went to. Dean, do you need chrysanthemum? Or do you need one of these? Which ones do you like? Put in your choice now. He's thinking. He's thinking. He's thinking. Come on, Dean, don't leave me hanging. Well, let me know. Let me know, Dean, because one of BK. Am I being stupid? What's BK? Am I being dumb? Chrysanthemum, TVC, BK. What do you mean, BK? No, you can give it away, sure. Do you mean, oh, black chrysanthemum. Got it. Yes, sorry. I got it just before you put it in. I got it just before. I was like, what's he talking about? Of course you can. I will send that to you. And you can give that away on something you're running. It's all about spreading the love, right? So you will need to go onto my Instagram and direct message me with your address where you want this sent to, okay? So in terms of the Deadpool one, anyone there in the US that likes Marvel Legends that wouldn't mind winning one of these? I'm not going to do like a questionnaire or anything like that. I'm just going to see who gets to me first. First person to say LFG, I win, gets this. Go. LFG. Let's flip him well go. LFG, I win is what you've got to put in the post in the comments. First one on will win. Hasn't even been opened. Goes for like a decent amount. No, you can't say me. LFG, I win. Adam, you win. Ken, do you not listen to instructions? He goes, me. Adam Kennedy, you are the winner. You got it. But you need to direct message me on Instagram, all right? Because I don't want you putting your address on here, all right? So, Dean gets the chrysanthemum. Message me on Instagram, and I will send it to you. And you can give it away. You can do what you like with it. Adam, you get this. DM me on Instagram, and I will send it to you. Please be in America. Are you in America, Adam? Let me know. So I think. Ken, you're always full of excuses, Ken. You managed to write me when in fact what I asked you to do was LFG, I win. Love you. There we go. So Adam is in the US. Cool. That's great. I think that's about it. What have we done? We've done 2 hours. It was 2.5 hours. If any of you stayed here for more than 15 minutes, I applaud you. Thanks for sticking around. I think I've covered everything, right? I've done Star Wars, done Superman, we did Indiana Jones, we did Batman, we did Star Wars, we did Jurassic, we did Lego, Playmobil, books and Smurf Village, cereal packets, Lord of the Rings, Pez, Peter Pan, boxes of Tron and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I didn't get to show you all of the custom stuff that I wanted to do, but that'll keep. That'll keep, because what won't keep is my need for the toilet. I really got to go. Anyway, listen. So I think we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much. Appreciate your appreciation. I had a good time. This was good. I actually got into a rhythm. I didn't feel like I lost my breath too much, but I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers back to you. And I will leave. What can I leave you on? What can I leave you on? Thank you, Tony Z. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep collecting. Okay, I got a deep one. All right. I don't know how old you all are, right? But I'm going to guess you're probably around my age, or thereabouts. Enjoy what you do. Hold on to playful things. Keep playing. Keep collecting. But bring in new people. Pass it on. Find a younger generation. It doesn't have to be a kid. It can be a Gen Z, a Gen Y, whatever. Try and welcome in more than you think you need to the next generation of collectors, because they are going to ensure that the stuff that we love now are going to be with us when we're 80. I want to be sitting down, not worrying about going to the toilet. I've got a bag when I'm 80, and I want to be able to have all the figures and all the stories and the TV shows and the movies of my favorite brands and ones I haven't discovered yet. We've got to pass this along, this playfulness and these stories and these brands that we love that mean so much to us. We have to welcome in people. When I was 16 and picked up that figure in that car boot sale, and so I remember him, I wouldn't have been where I am now. I wouldn't have gone on the journey I'm on now if someone else hadn't gone, yeah, let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about this community. Here's some magazines you should go and buy. Here, come to this collector meet in Clacton at an old pub. And like, welcome, welcome. Do that. Do that, please. And let's work out things that we can do together as a community and also in a more official capacity as Hasbro and you on how we spread the generation of collecting, because at the end, I'm getting emotional, at the end of the day, we're here because we have a lifelong love of toys. And we have to spread that around. We have to show people what that can mean and how special that is. Anyway, Stephen, you're doing it already. Keep doing it. Everyone else follow Stephen's example. All right. Thank you for joining me. I have had a whale of a time. I'm going to watch this back. I'm going to look through all the comments, see the things I've missed. If you've got any questions, thoughts, comments, add them to the comments beyond this. Feel free anytime to direct message me on Instagram at MrStevie18. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Those in America, have a good day off tomorrow. Those in everywhere else, get back to work. But remember, get home and get playing. All right. And in true Toy Tales fashion, all I've got to say is